It's mowing season. Skag, Husqvarna, Snapper, Snapper Pro, Simplicity, and more at Hometown Motors Incorporated, 818 Eastern Avenue, Chillicothe.
Welcome, everyone. Mike Smith with Litter Media, and we're joined today some guests from Scioto Society and the outdoor drama Tecumseh. We have CEO and producer Brandon Smith. We have the director, Brent Gibbs, and kind of a new face to this year's show in a way. The lead role of Tecumseh played by Jaime Pla. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have everyone with us today.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Brandon, first of all, let's talk about the production itself. Obviously, we missed last year because of the pandemic, but we're coming back for 2021. And I know a lot of excitement involved in that alone, but there's a lot of details we want to make sure that everybody understands about how we're going to get the show not only on the stage, but continue throughout the season safely.
Yeah, so it's going to be a learning experience for everybody this year. The driving force for us this year is our capacity, our seating capacity, which in a normal year is just under 2,000 people. This year it'll be around 500 people. So that has driven a lot of the decisions that we had to make financially, artistically, and otherwise. So the cast itself is going to be a smaller cast this year than it is in normal years. Which is true across the board. Our administrative staff is smaller, our support staffs are smaller, the house staff is smaller, but it all comes together into a plan which I think is going to work. We've been working with local and state health officials for months to put this plan together, and it's going to allow us to put the show on the stage, to get people in the theater, and to operate for a year in what is probably not choice circumstances, but will allow us to get through the year and get into next year when hopefully things are going to be a little bit more back to normal. And I can tell you that the word has gotten out that there is limited ticket availability this year, and our advanced sales are very, very high right now. So the ticket demand is there. I know people want to get out and do something, and certainly we want them to come see us. There's going to be a lot of requirements. Face masks are going to be required throughout the facility. We have social distancing signs around, which people by now are very used to seeing. But it's still going to be a fun experience for people. They're going to be able to sit outside, where we all know it's safer than being inside in this situation, and enjoy live theater again. We'll be one of the first theaters, one of the first big theaters in the country to reopen to a big crowd, and we're super excited about it.
And I don't want to make an assumption here, but the reason I asked this next question, I was listening to the Cincinnati Reds yesterday, and they were making the comment that in late April, they're going to be able to increase their attendance size if things improved here in the state of Ohio, where things opened up a little bit more. You'd be able to adapt to that and allow more people in?
It's possible. So the guidelines that you were hearing from the Reds yesterday are guidelines under which we are already operating. So we had a variance from the state health department. They came out and did a site visit. We taped off seats. We did a whole sketch, and that's how we came up with our capacity. So should these rules change, that would actually allow everybody to go up to the capacity which we're already operating under. Now, it could change again. The governor is saying, if we get down to a certain percentage for a certain number of days in a row, that a lot of those things will be lifted. So that's possible. Although the past couple of weeks, the numbers have been getting gradually better. The 2 weeks before that were not great. So, it's a waiting game. We have to wait and see what happens. But even if nothing changes, we're in good shape.
Brandon, I'll give you the honors of introducing the new Tecumseh.
Sure. Well, Jaime has been with us, even though we only had one season. This will be his third year involved.
It wasn't your fault, Jaime.
Well, what are you going to do? You make it work.
That's right. And Jaime's been a great company member. He's an extremely talented actor. And when Brent and I started talking about how we were going to put the cast together, his name was really the first that came up to reach out to see if he was interested in coming back. So I'm thrilled that he's coming back. He's going to be a great leader for the company. and I think just a great person to be the face of the show for this year. So, Jaime.
Welcome,
Brandon.
What's this role mean for you to get a shot at this?
I mean, it means a lot. You know, I do believe that this is a story that really demands to be told, and to have the privilege of being the one to tell it is really important to me. You know, I've only done this once at Tecumseh, but really that one time is such an enormous learning experience. As you know, you get thrown nature, the crowd, a new cast, you know, living in the woods. It feels good. All of those things at once really force you to learn quickly. So now giving this a second go around and having to be in this position is really, really exciting.
I know we've asked this question of some of the actors in years past, but your first go around with this role, I'm sure you've done indoor theater. Talk about the difference of being indoors as opposed to outdoor.
Well, sometimes it rains every now and again. And there's sort of just an acceptance of, you know, sometimes things are going to be a little different, you know, day to day, week to week. Sometimes there's going to be some rain in your way, whether you keep going or sometimes you got to call it. I like it when it keeps going, makes it feel more in the moment for me, at least. You really got to be louder. That's another thing. And you have to command the space in a very different way. Because now you're playing to 2,000 people. This year it'll be a little less, but the space doesn't change. So all of that is going to remain consistent. And it's a really, really physical show. You know, when it's 98 degrees outside, you're riding the horse, you're running around nonstop for 2 hours. It's intense. So working on getting rid of the quarantine fluff is priority number one right now. But I can't be more excited.
Director Brent Gibbs, how many different Tecumsehs have you now worked with as the director over the years?
Oh, I think this is either my 5th or 6th.
And what does this do as far as the way you direct the show? I mean, the story outline is obviously the same, but is the way the actor works, projects, do you bring a different flair to the storyline itself with a different actor in that lead role?
It's one of the wonderful things about theater. It's why you have hundreds of Hamlets done every single year. It's the actor who inhabits the role inherently dictates what story is told, because it's their sensibilities, it's their cadences, it's their passions that drive the show. And so what they find important is what gets emphasized. So it's really a lovely process to work with a new actor in the role. And at the same time, there are some truisms that remain throughout from season to season, actor to actor. You know, there are certain things that need to get emphasized. There are certain things that resonate regardless of who's doing them. And that's one of the beauties of Tecumseh, is it has those moments.
Brent and Brandon, I'll let you both tag team on this next question. When you're selecting the new Tecumseh, what are some of the things that you're looking for when you pick the right person? Brandon first.
The voice, which is true for every role in the show. There is definitely, I think Jaime mentioned it earlier, there's definitely a difference in an indoor theater than an outdoor theater, or from television and film work to an outdoor theater, and particularly in our outdoor theater where we don't use microphones. So a grounded voice that you can deliver a consistent product night after night without blowing it completely out is a talent that not everybody has. And some people are able to come here over a course of 2 or 3 seasons and develop that skill for sure. But it is something that is not only important, but really required to be able to work in our theater. I'd say that's the most important thing to me.
Brent?
It's interesting because there are intangibles that go into that. I agree with Brandon. Absolutely. There are technical skills that you have to have, you know, but there is, and I'm a little nervous to say this in front of Jaime, but it requires a nobility. It does. There's something about the role of Tecumseh that requires this innate quality that people would follow, that people respect. I think that's a really important intangible that Jaime brings to the role.
Jaime, you referred to this or just a little bit earlier, but let's come back to that. This is a very physical role. Mm-hmm. It's almost like an entertainer on stage dancing and jumping around if they're actually singing and not ad-libbing. How do you get in the kind of condition that you're not out of breath when you're trying to deliver a line?
Well, honestly, I start hitting the gym pretty much immediately. I got confirmed for the role. I'm already a pretty physical guy. I'm out there. I've been working. Quarantine has been tough, but I run a lot of weight training. But the biggest part of really conditioning myself for the show is just the rehearsal period. It's so intense. You're there every single day. You're out there 9 hours, 10 hours in the sun. And really just doing it is how you prepare for it. And there's a mental toughness that I learned my first year doing it, that you really need to be able to bring to the table, because this show doesn't stop. It's 6 days a week, and each one you need to perform it like it's your first.
And I know this is something that develops over the course of the season. Mm-hmm. Getting used to the people that you're interacting with on stage. Do you try to get together with those people other than rehearsal before you even start rehearsing to try to get them to know them a little bit better so you can develop some of that camaraderie or that chemistry?
Oh, yeah, 100%. One of my favorite parts of going to a new place, to a new company is meeting all of the people that I'm going to be working and really living with for the next 2-3 months. The year I was there, and I'm sure it's going to be the same this year, it was a fantastic company. I had nothing but great things to say about my peers and the rest of the cast and the rest of the crew. I'm excited to do the same this year.
And Brent, one last question for you. As Brandon referred a little bit earlier, maybe a little smaller production because of all the things that we've had to deal with. Does that make your job harder? Because you've been used to these bigger casts over the years. How do you work that in with a smaller, maybe not just with the cast, but a smaller production?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because, first of all, I have to look at the cast size and see what it actually turns out to be. But I mean, it's not going to be appreciably smaller. It's a difference of about, I think, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a difference of about 10 people. Is that correct?
That's about right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not going to be, you're talking about a very large company to begin with. We also have horses. So, they take up some space on stage. But it's funny because the story itself doesn't change. So, yes, I'll have to think of new images that can help convey certain bits of information. But in terms of telling the story, I'm going to approach it absolutely the same way that we always do, which is to try to tell it with as much respect and fidelity as we can.
Brandon, what year is this for Tecumseh now?
This will be 49. We had some people wanting to know if we were going to change the way that we count years because we missed one. No
asterisk in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brandon, give us the details of how to get tickets and show times and the days that we're performing.
Yep. Opening night is June 17th, and we're open Monday through Saturday, one show a night at 8 p.m. Tickets are available at tecumsehdrama.com, or you can call us at 775-0700. We'll have regular box office hours starting here around the 1st of May. And get your tickets early. I'm telling you, our first weekend is already that close to being sold out. So
she'll shoot me for saying this, but Jaime, when I showed your picture to my 31-year-old daughter, she said, "He's hot." You'll probably get that a lot throughout the course of the summer.
I get that all the time too, Jaime.
Brandon does.
Never get that.
Those two, probably. Yeah, our guest today, Brandon Smith, CEO, producer for the Scioto Society, director of Tecumseh, Brent Gibbs, and the new Tecumseh for 2021, Jaime Pla, our guest today on Litter Media. I'm Mike Smith.